Hey, and good evening, everyone. 7 p.m. here. It's in the morning in LA. It's 1 p.m. in the East Coast, and we are ready to do the first video in our total path towards the ultimate large-scale model of KITT. And today we have a very cool guest, or two actually. I'll introduce them shortly. Sorry, this is my first time hosting the live stream, so some things might go wrong. First thing I realized when I clicked go live is I should have a cool video. Next video, I'll have a cool intro video. Right now, it's just me. So anyway, let me first bring on Barry. Let's see how that goes. Barry. Could have gone cooler, but we brought on both at the same time. So here is Barry from Factory Entertainment. Barry is going to be our partner together with Jordan and the other people from Factory Entertainment, of course, to get this very cool vehicle made and across the finish line with Universal and all that sort of thing. But the main guest for today is Joe. Yes.
Hello.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Joe, sorry for that very improfessional intro, but let's talk about Joe. Joe is Knight Rider historian together with his friend AJ. And if you've not seen or read or looked into anything Knight Rider, I'm sure you've met or seen Joe. Joe, he's been on Jay Leno's Garage, and you've literally written the book about KITT, about Knight Rider. I bought two of them. I'm enjoying them very much so far. Did I miss? Because I think there was like an early syllabus you did as well.
Back in the 90s, I did. It was a character guide. That was my first book, and then I did Knight Rider Legacy in 2002. Knight Rider 30 Years of a Lone Crusader and His Talking Car in 2012, and a whole bunch of little smaller books along the way. So
yeah. Isn't it bad that we talk about the 90s as if it was the 1890s?
I know. In a lot of ways, it feels like it was a long time ago.
Yeah, no kidding.
But so we got a lot to discuss. So you wrote the first book back when you were in college. I seem to remember from the intro of that book I'm reading right now.
So actually, the first book I wrote, that character guide, it was called A Shadowy Flight. I wrote that when I was 16.
Wow.
And it was in the mid 90s. So I'm 44, almost 45 now. So it was in the mid 90s, and I wrote, and it was simply a character guide talking about every character from Michael Knight all the way down to, the gardener in one episode, and all the details about them. And then the real book, the first, I guess, real book was in 2002, Knight Rider Legacy. And that's where I started digging into the history of the show, talking to cast and crew members, getting behind the scenes photos, different things like that. And I was in college for that one. So I started early. Knight Rider's kind of been a constant in my life for a very long time.
Right. Because
you started young too.
Yeah. Because 44, that means you weren't really watching the shows live, but you watched the reruns, right?
Yes. My mom says that I caught the tail end of the series in like 85 and 86 when I was like 4 years old, but I obviously don't remember that. But for me, it was whenever it was in syndication in the late 80s. They would always play like 2 or 3 hour blocks of the show right after school. So I'd come home and I would watch the show till dinner time, and then that's kind of when it really took hold.
Good, man. That's so cool.
I'm just impressed you didn't end up talking like William Daniels at such an early.
You don't want to hear my William Daniels impression, no.
Oh, now I do.
No, I don't have one actually.
Okay. No, I'm not trying that either.
No.
All right, so for the people who are watching, go get Joe's books and go to KnightRiderHistorians.com, where you can get the books both in PDF and the real versions signed by Joe. That's also very cool.
Yep.
But so let me skip forward to, when did you start Knight Rider Historians?
So Knight Rider Historians, let me think of when that was. So I as you mentioned, it's me and my good friend AJ Palmgren. So the two of us kind of started Knight Rider Historians back in the early 2000s. We had gotten to know each. He lives in Iowa, about 800 miles from me. We see each other a few times a year, but we started talking back when I was writing those initial books, and I would post on the old message boards back in the day, and AJ saw the questions I was asking and my interest, that my interest in the show was more than just superficial. It was getting into the minutia of the production, of the props, the cars. So he reached out, we ended up forming a friendship. And then, early 2000s, we decided to form the Knight Rider Historians, and it's just kind of grown ever since.
Wow. That's a long while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And not to offend anyone here, but we're all a bunch of nerds here, right? And
definitely
very passionate about the project, about our projects, I must say. And then to be together for that long without like a major falling out or a big spat, that's very impressive. Very good.
Yeah, it's weird. AJ and I have never had as much as a minor argument. I mean, we get along great. No, we really haven't. We really have not. We get along great. Maybe it's because we only see each other a few times a year, but no, we've always got along great. And when one of us makes a discovery, we always call the other, and it's always exciting. We've worked together to acquire everything that we have and all the people we've talked about. It's very much a team effort.
Wow. Well,
yeah,
I must say I'm impressed. So, let's talk about. So we've prepared some things to have a bit of a structure to the conversation. Let's first talk about the history of the car, and then get into when you acquired it as at the end of that. So, could you lead us through the history of the car?
Sure. So I guess it starts back with the series creator Glenn Larson. He was. He had one more deal at Universal Studios. He was under contract at Universal. He was getting ready to move to 20th Century Fox, and he had one more production deal that he had to complete with Universal, and that was Knight Rider. So he wrote the script, and it got to the point where he had to come up with a car. Like, what car is he going to use? They were going to film a 30-minute, they call it the pilot presentation, basically like a sizzle reel, a portion of that pilot script they're going to film, and then they were going to shop it around to networks and try and sell the show. So this was spring of 1982, and Larson said, right from the get-go, he wanted the 82 Trans Am to be the car.
Do you have any idea why that specific car?
I think he liked it because it looked futuristic. In 1982 is when Pontiac redesigned the Firebird Trans Am into into that shape and that style. So when he saw that, he thought that's a futuristic looking car, and it really is, and it is to this day. If you look at it, it's real sleek and aerodynamic. And
it's shocking when you compare it to the Smokey and the Bandit 70s.
Yes.
To have such a change, and was not warmly received immediately. It was
no,
people were like, oh my god, there's too different, too much change.
Absolutely. And he had talked, Larson had talked at one point briefly about maybe using the Nissan, what is it, the Nissan Z from 1982 as KITT, but I don't think that went very far. So and the 82 Firebirds were actually released in November of 81. So this was a few months after that the cars had already been out on the market. So he had known them. He'd probably seen a few on the road, and he decided this was the car he wanted. So he reached out to some good friends of his at a company called the Vista Group. Vista Group was the company responsible for placing vehicles in movies and TV shows and sporting events in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even into the 2000s. So he was good friends with the president of that company. So he asked the president to see if he could secure 3 brand new 1982 Trans Ams to use to film this pilot presentation to try and sell the series. So There's a whole long story behind that and the troubles that Vista Group had in getting the cars. But at the end of the day, they were able to secure 3 Trans Ams from Pontiac, and then that's what they used to film that pilot. And then as the course of the show went on, they ended up getting about 12.5 more that they used throughout the 4 years it was on the air. So.
Oh, all right. I would expect even more than that, considering all the train wreck and all the other cars.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we get on to going from that Pontiac to KITT, and we have to talk literally about Michael Sheffey is the right way to pronounce that?
Yeah, Michael Sheffey. Yeah.
Michael Sheffey. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
But before I forget, let's add to this, maybe do a big jump forward. So how did you get the cars in terms of the history?
Sure. So when the show ended, there were 5 cars that were allowed to survive. The cars, even though the show had roughly 17 to 20 cars, some of them were owned by the studio. They were owned outright by the studio. Some of them were product placement units from companies like the Vista Group or directly from Pontiac. So any that were product placement, there was a stipulation that the studio could use these cars, but when the show was ended, they had to be destroyed for liability reasons. But the studio-owned cars were allowed to survive, and those are the ones that the studio didn't destroy and eventually got out. So a car customizer, car show promoter named Carl Casper ran a company called Hollywood Productions. He purchased the cars from the studio and he toured them around the country to different car shows, World of Wheels events, different things like that. So over the years, he had slowly sold those cars off, and we have 2 of the 5 surviving cars. One of them came through this process, and we simply purchased it from, it was the second owner after Hollywood Productions. It had been languishing in an auction lot for years. One of the T-tops was missing. The interior was a wreck, but the owner prior to us restored the car, and then we ended up buying from him in 2007. The other car stayed at the studio until 2008. And at that point, the studio just said, hey, we need to clean up our back lot. And they sent the car to a salvage yard. And so I know it's crazy. And it would something that would never, ever happen today. But I had connections at the studio at the time and got wind that the car was going to be leaving, and was able to get to it at the salvage yard as soon as it arrived, and was able to acquire it before it too was destroyed.
Whoa.
So yeah,
unbelievable,
crazy.
So is one of the 2 cars you have one of that cars that was in the Universal Studios lot with the holes drilled in the bottom?
Yes. Yeah, it was after. Yeah, Universal had a display where they had the car parked over the water, and tourists could come in. They could sit in the car, and they had a guy off camera pretending to be KITT that would interact with the guests. So they had 2 cars that they used for that display. One of them was just a car built specifically for that display. It was never used in the series, but the other one was used in the series, and that's the one that I have here. Yep.
Oh, wow. And so for the people who don't know this part of the story, tell them why there were holes in the bottom of the car.
So there were holes in the bottom of the car because, well, here, let's set the scene here. Let me bring up a picture real quick of the car over the water. So give me just 1 second. Here we go. So if you want to share my screen, there we go.
There it is.
So this is the display they had of KITT over the water, and the reason the holes were drilled in the floor, as legend goes, was all of the kids, they would get in the car and they would be so excited to see KITT that they would wet their pants. Now, that might have been part of it, but realistically, it was also probably because of people getting in with wet shoes and different things like that. But
Right.
I kind of like. So we affectionately call the seats that came out of this car the P seats because
do not want to shine a black light on those.
No, most definitely not. Yeah.
Right. So before we shared this screen, I saw you had another picture up.
Yes.
I think
So
that's also fun to show. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, this leads into our conversation about Michael Chaffee, because this is a picture of Michael Chaffee and George Barris. As I'm sure you guys and a lot of the people watching know George Barris. He was the man who built the original 1966 Batmobile, the Munster coach, a whole bunch of different things. He was also involved in Knight Rider. He didn't build the original kit, but he did work on the original cars. He did build at least a couple of the later kits. And if you guys remember, in the 4th season, they had KITT transform into a convertible and Super Pursuit mode. George Barris's shop built those cars. So this picture is actually George Barris with Michael Chaffee. This was taken in 1984, so 2 years after the show premiered. And this was them discussing KITT's upgrade in season 3, which I think we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I just wanted to kind of give a visual on Michael Chaffee here. And this car, I don't know if this was eventually turned into KITT or if this was one of Barris's replicas, because he built some replicas too. But yeah.
Right. All right. So Michael Chaffee did a design based on that car, gave it a new front nose, of course, a lot of interior changes, did something to the taillights, that sort of thing. So let's talk about the pilot car, which would probably be the first one then, I guess.
Yes. So the pilot car, so when we talk pilot cars, there's actually 3 different cars, right? There's an initial 3 they got from General Motors. So they had 3 cars, and they got the cars. It was April 2nd of 1982, they got the cars. They were going to film that 30-minute sizzle reel, the pilot presentation, in 3 weeks. Yeah. So they had 3 weeks to convert these cars, to build everything from scratch. So one of the cars went to Michael Chaffee, went to his design studio, and he had a team that built the first KITT dashboard and the consoles, the whole interior. While that car was being built, the other 2 cars went to another shop, a guy by the name of John Ward, and he built the outside of the car. So if we look, let me share this picture here. So this is a screenshot from the pilot, and you can see the front end of KITT is different than what we normally see with KITT. The whole front end is different. This is what John Ward initially built for the outside of KITT. We can see that he just took the stock Trans Am bumper, he filled in the turn signal areas, made a thin scanner, elongated the hood, and they used this car. He did this to 2 of the 3 cars. So there were 2 exterior cars, and then the 1 interior car that Michael Chaffee built. Only the interior was done. The outside was still the stock Trans Am while they filmed this pilot presentation. So fast forward, the show was picked up by NBC, and they had a couple months before they had to film the rest of the pilot. And it was during that break that Larson called Chaffee back and said, okay, now can you design the front nose? And whenever that happened, then Chaffee came in and he designed the front nose that we all know. And I'm looking, here we go. Is this a good shot? Yeah. Then he designed this front nose. Yes, much, much better. And then this is the nose that KITT people know KITT with, right? And was used throughout the rest of the series.
And this, because people have to remember, this is back in the 80s, no digital effects. And you've mentioned the pilot that we've referred to, at that point, the studio hadn't committed to anything. So they didn't know whether they were going to get picked up. And was not uncommon for whole pilots to be shot, filmed, and then series to just disappear.
Right.
So
Right.
budget wise and money wise, there was no CGI, there was no 3D printing design. Everything had to be done by real people, by hand. So you see all of these interesting artisanal changes purely by logistics and usually money.
You're exactly right.
Budgets are very low at that point because you've got no commitment from a studio.
You're exactly
Yeah.
right. Yep.
All right, so let me take a moment here and welcome welcome the viewers here. So I'm thank you for everyone who's joined. I really love to see all these comments and questions come in. So I wanted to keep most of the questions and answer them at the end. So unless there's something I see pop up that I think that might be relevant to what we're talking about right now, I'm going. I see all the comments, and I will address most of them at the end. And if I forget anything before we go out, I'll just say if there's any questions that I didn't get to, you can just re-ask your questions. So going back to the discussion, this is the original sculpt that Scheffé did. Still looks slightly different to me than what I remember the car as, especially those two thin slats on the both sides of the scanner. I don't remember seeing those panels so distinctly.
Yeah. So these are this is Michael Scheffé's original design. These are smoked acrylic sheets, and they're designed to cover. The factory turn signals are right here on the car.
Right.
So when Scheffé built this, he had an eye towards keeping the function out. He still wanted the headlights to be able to open, still want the turn signals to work. So he put these smoked covers on. And the cars for the entire first season had these blackouts. Now, they vary per car. So some cars, they're not as cleanly installed as others.
Right.
So this one, you can see it's sagging in the middle and it's up here. Some of them are nice and smooth on the top. Let me see here. Yeah. Wow. So take a look at this. So this was a picture right after Michael Scheffé finished designing that nose, and you can see how smooth he designed these covers to be. So, but Universal gets their hands on it, and they just slap copies together, and
and driving around by this time, this would have been the summer, driving around in LA heat with acrylic panels. Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there are even scenes in the show where you see KITT driving down the road, and one of the acrylic panels is folded up from the wind. So by season 2, they realized they needed to do something about this. So they removed the acrylic, and what they did is they sculpted the fiberglass underneath where that void was. They filled it in, but then they left a divot to make it look like it still had the indents. Let me find you a picture here.
This is in
that's a
1/6
bad
the light.
picture.
You're right. No fog lights in the nose yet. Yeah. That's
right. No fog lights. Yeah. So here, this is from season 2, and it looks like there's still acrylic panels there, but there's not. This is actually fiberglass that's indented in with it's integral to the nose itself. Mm-hmm. So seasons 2 and 3 had this front nose before they redesigned it in season 4 and just got rid of those indents completely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can see the fog lights. They added the fog lights after the pilot or early in the pilot. There's some scenes in the pilot where you see the fog lights, but it wasn't there from Scheffé's original design.
So Night Riders of Greece says the hero car has the lights, but hidden behind the grills.
The hero car. So the hero car has the fog lights, but they're hidden behind the grill. And I'm trying to see. Let me find you a good shot. That's not a good shot. Yeah, there's all
right. Yeah. I'm already thinking, this is interesting, because in my mind, my headcanon, as we say, there are definitely visible grill lights that or fog lights that I want to see on a KITT, but that wouldn't be accurate then?
So here we go. This is a great shot. So this
Right.
is a couple episodes into season 1, and you can see that they've got 3 fog lights on each side, and you can see the grills are installed. So this would be an accurate representation of what the front end of KITT looked like for season 1. And notice how you can see the turn signal lights as well, the
Blowing
marker
through
light.
the acrylic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
after
one of the few times you actually see the lights pop up, by the way.
yes, yeah. In season 1, they use those pop-up headlights more than ever. In fact, I have a copy of the Knight Rider Writer's Bible from the 2nd season, and they say, don't use the pop-up headlights anymore. We want them to only use the fog lights. It makes KITT look more sleek. So yeah, so that's why they quit using them. But this is a representation. This is what you would expect to see on a first season KITT. Yeah,
you can see with the light behind them, they look more pronounced, but they're angled louvers. So when the lights are out, it's going to be much more concealed, and it's hard to see it when they're off. It's quite clever.
Correct. Yeah, it is.
So let's see if I can. No, I can't. That's crap. I was going to try to share. Can you see this? The front side view.
Yes,
right now?
That's one of the 2 cars I have.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Because I was looking at. I was remembering this picture, and then I let's see. Stop sharing. How do I do that? Oh my God, I'm such a boomer. Here we go. Yeah, so I was remembering those lines, and you had a side profile shot like 5 minutes ago that looked different. Right.
Yes.
This looks different to me.
Yes. So this goes back to no two noses or surviving front noses seem to be exactly the same. So what you're looking
Makes
at
sense.
here is Chaffee's original nose that he sculpted out of balsa wood and body filler on this car. He sculpted it on the car. Later versions, as the series progressed, the nose that you just showed that's on one of the cars I have is a nose from later in the 2nd season. So, I don't think it was a resculpt. It was probably, they had a nose, that maybe it got hit and then they patched it up and then remolded it. And I don't know what exactly happened, but I think it was a many generation later nose than his
That's
original
an important
design.
practicality. If you've stood next to a Trans Am, it's a long car anyway. Once you add this nose on it, just think about all the things we saw KITT do and how many times he took a corner at speed. That front end is going to be the one that took all the abuse. That and the rear quarter panels.
Absolutely.
It must have been, logistically, it must have been a nightmare to film.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a mess.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So people who are watching, and we have quite a lot of viewers already live. I want to hear your responses too, because so basically everyone's saying got to be the season 1, season 2 cars. The other thing I hear is it has to have the redesigned voice box. So with the vertical lights on the
slats
sides.
either side.
Yeah. And people say the interior it should have the 2 screens, not the big one. But if you look at the nose, most people here in the comments are now saying get with the first season car. So if we focus on designing it, and it's people saying, it shouldn't be Super Pursuit, shouldn't be the later model, but should it be season 1 with the slats and the 6 fog lights and the pop-up headlights, or later? So what are your lines? Your thoughts, Joe and Barry, on that?
I mean, personally, I think it would be really cool to offer the initial vision of Michael Chaffee's for KITT with this original dash here with the square voice box, with the the half dash on top, the bigger overhead console, this front nose. But maybe there's an opportunity to because a lot of these changes are so small. It's maybe the body still stays the same, but it's just a different front nose, or you add 2 fog lights instead of 3. So maybe there's some options to have it customized. I don't know.
That was one of the attractions of Knight Rider. When you watch it again as an adult, you see the things you just didn't notice as a child. The obvious ramps, the times they welded things to the outside of KITT, the handles and things that you just didn't see them because you were too busy watching the action and the car. And so there's going to be some hybridization.
Bad resolution screen. Yeah.
Yeah, and on a tiny little if you were lucky, a 22-inch.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right, so this is an interesting question. What's the difference between your Light Knight Rider and Tomy Knight Rider? I haven't extensively checked the Tomy Knight Rider, so I don't know if you have, Joe. But I can say here that we discussed with Joe, and we're going to be actually LiDAR scanning Joe's car, and we had a talk before we started the live stream. We're actually going to be scanning the inside and the outside of the car. So I don't know if the guys for Tomy did that. Probably not, right? I'm no. Probably the first to ever scan your car. Yeah. So so it's going to be a shrunken down version of the actual car with the actual interior. Do you know what Tomy focused on in terms of the season and interior and stuff like that?
I don't. I'm not familiar with that specific one. So no, I don't.
It's a very different scale as well. It's important to note, people have grasped how big this thing we're making is going to be. It's a lot bigger, so we have a lot more canvas to play with. Things that would be simply impossible at the lower scale, we can do.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I've seen this question pop up before, so I thought I'd address it. So, looks like we're focusing on the season 1 car. I like what you're saying, the original Chef, because it answers a couple of questions I had. So definitely the 2 monitors, the partial top dash, so not the later version where the top of the dash is completely filled out. I'm guessing that also answers what you're saying. There's a difference because there were differences in the top buttons, the side buttons.
Yeah. So, there's quite a few differences. So what we were talking about regarding the top of the dash. So in Chauffet's original design, you can kind of see it here, even though the screen's dark, but this right here, where we see these slats, this is the factory Trans Am dash pad. So these are the speaker grills, and you can see here where Chauffet designed this dashboard and literally just screwed it down to the factory dash. You can see the screws right here. He just literally screwed it down.
Right. It's lapping over rather than seamed.
Correct. Later, they had this design for the entire first season and a few episodes into the second season before they redesigned this dash shell. They kept all of the curves and the angles the same. The only thing they did was they extended this all the way back to the windshield, so it was nice and smooth on top.
Yeah.
So this is
probably the one that would have been, studios love to reuse footage. All of the, we didn't have we did have VCRs, but most people weren't using them. But every time you saw a sizzle or a trailer, they were probably reusing earlier footage repeatedly, I would imagine. That's typical for a studio.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they reuse footage the whole way through. Yeah, definitely.
So you see these things coming back that may or may, they may have been a car that was 3-4 iterations prior, but because we watched it as a canonical thing from beginning to end, and in your head there was one KITT and he was real and he could fly and he could do all of these things, you didn't think about the actual practicalities of there being stunt cars, and it was not, maybe some kids did, but I certainly didn't.
Right. Yeah, no, I didn't either at the time. Now I'm a little now when I watch the show, I can't not just watch it for pleasure.
Oh, right?
I see everything now.
Yeah.
But that's a sacrifice.
A little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
Right. Yeah, definitely. But right, so the other thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. So this was the other thing that I think you mentioned. One of our viewers mentioned was the voice box, right? So this was Michael Chauffet's original design for the voice box.
Right.
Actually, I take that back. This was his original design, where it actually said Night 2000 on it. The LEDs are colored differently. These are rectangular instead of curved, and obviously we have the giant red voice box, and that's before KITT changed to the more common equalizer style halfway through the first season. So
that's the one I want to go for.
Yeah. And see, that's the tricky part with this, because if you're going to build the original pilot car, this is the voice box you need to go with. But this is what most people know as KITT's voice box. So
that movement is so iconic.
Yes.
It's 3 Larson scanners mounted horizontally rather than
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was going to be a blend of some season 1 and maybe a little bit of season 2 anyway. But I feel for the exterior, it makes sense to go with the as much of the Chaffee vision as possible. For the interior, probably as well, with the partial dash and all that sort of the two monitors. I love that. Voice box. Well, what do you people think? I think the equalizer voice box looks best, is what Michael Scarosa 50 says. I like the newer voice box. All right, so let me know what you think. This is also interesting. I don't know if you saw this, for the people wondering. So the Tommy, here we go. So the Tommy had the super pursuit mode panel lines for one thing, so that would be wrong. Yeah, that's not what we're doing here. So interesting. I hope that answers your question anyway. I like the newer voice, equalizer. So lots of people here saying the equalized voice. Can you live with that, Joe, that we do the original Chaffee vision, but almost?
Well, yeah, of course. And I do think, the original Chaffee car did not have a tow bar underneath. It did not have the fog lights. But I think whenever most people look at KITT in season 1, outside of that initial pilot presentation, they added the fog lights, they added the tow bar. So I would be inclined to say, let's put a tow bar in and the fog lights in as well. So here's a decent look. The tow bar underneath.
So the tow bar, we'll get to that later. That's I agree. That's something we need to discuss. But let's try to stay on because I like where we're going here. So we got the Chaffee's original sculpt. The John Ward front nose was nice to see, but to me it just looked freaky. So you get
a question about the voice. We can confirm, yes, we will be using original audio.
Yes,
the project will include that. So there was a question from some time back, but obviously you can't have a voice box without the voice.
Yeah. So we agree. So, this is interesting, Barry. I'm going to ask you live. If you don't know, but people were asking, since we're also going to be making car, do you think we can also get the original voice for car?
I need to look into that. It isn't. We've been given by Universal a huge asset library, and I don't remember seeing any car in there. So I will have to check, but I will do that. There's a lot of KITT, and it may just be because nobody ever asked for car. So we'll check for sure. Can't tell you right now, but yes, I agree. We should do a car because he's kind of cool as well.
Yeah.
Secretly, I like car. You're supposed to boo and hate him, but a lot of us were like, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, but it's Peter Cullen was the guy who also did Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime,
yeah. He's the voice for car.
That voice is instantly recognizable. I can hear it in my head now. It's like...
Yeah. So I think since we're looking at the car with the silver top bottom part, we should see, because I'm seeing here there's 2 voices of car. Well, we'll look into this. We'll see what we can do. Meanwhile, let's go back on topic. Scanner circuitry in the pilot car.
Yes. So the original scanner circuitry, and this goes all the way back to the pilot presentation car with that funky front nose. It was built by a relative of John Ward's, the man who designed that stock looking front nose on KITT. And the way he designed it was with the ability to change KITT's scanning patterns. So, in the show, 99.9% of the time, it's a just solid back and forth. You see it sometimes go faster or slower, but it's just back and forth. But in the early first season, actually really throughout the first season, there's a number of times when you see a different pattern on KITT's front scanner. Yeah,
Right.
There's the time you see that. Sometimes it scans one direction. And I'm going to show you something I bet you guys have never, ever noticed before.
I love this stuff.
Now you're not going to be able to not notice it.
Oh, come on.
Notice there's only 6 lights here.
Yeah.
Notice these outer lights are not on. This is one of those scan patterns this scanner had, to only have the 6 inner ones going back and forth. So every time you see KITT in this intro, it's one of the alternate patterns that eventually, went away.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And yet in every single episode, we see it.
Yeah. Right.
Thanks for ruining it, Joe.
Anytime. That's why I'm here.
Well, this is really interesting, because we've been working on Cylons, and obviously this is the grandfather of the scanner was the Cylons, and the way they register on camera is entirely different to the way they register in real life when you look at them. And it's frustratingly annoying because you see it and you go, wow, it looks great. And then you film it and it looks totally different. Yeah, so it must have driven the DOP and the art department absolutely insane trying to get this to look right.
I'm sure it did. And, we, years ago, AJ and I found that relative of John Ward's who built the original scanner, and he still had the original schematics. So AJ's recreated it, and it's now in one of our 2 cars, now runs that original circuitry with all those different patterns in it. Wow. But what happened was when Universal took the show to production and they needed to make more copies of the car, it was easier for them to build a much more simpler circuit that just had on and off, and it just scanned back and forth. And
continuity would have been a nightmare too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
People know things are not filmed in the order in which you see them. So if he's scanning this way in one shot and the next shot.
Yeah, it would have been
a nightmare for the continuity guy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So pretty much from the middle of the first season throughout the rest of the series, it was just a simple scan back and forth. So, I don't know what you guys have planned for the circuitry for the scanner, but maybe, and I'm sure it would be a lot simpler to build than it was back in 1982, but maybe, maybe there's.
Thank God for LEDs.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So this is an interesting question. Let's dive into that. So for the people who are new to us with the Jazzing dioramas, this is why we don't make a final prototype when we open pre-orders, because we keep learning and learning stuff. And so basically at time of pre-order, there's going to be a rough draft. And it's not going to be until summer when we have a final prototype, so that we can include all the things we're learning throughout the process and get customer feedback. So and there are other questions that I had, even just regarding the scanner. So it's interesting that I don't know, one of you 2 mentioned how different things, I think it was you, Barry, they met on screen. So one of the things I notice when I'm thinking of designing the scanner, on screen it registers as if when it goes from one side to the other, the lights are like trailing slowly. So it's not like it's a single LED going back and forth. No, it's trailing. Now, I was always wondering, is this something that is the way it registered, or is that something how the real thing was designed?
No. Go ahead, Barry.
What you've got, we touched on it earlier. Obviously, this is 1982, and LEDs did exist, but they were not common and they were expensive. What you've got here is the difference between, and again, Joe, please stop me if I'm wrong, incandescent bulbs and LED bulbs. And with an incandescent bulb, when they turn off, they don't turn off immediately. They have a fade to them. So what you see in the Larson scanner, which is the unofficial term for this thing, the trail is actually the previous bulb going out and dimming as the next one dims. So you're seeing a trail, which is visible. But when you record it, for example, on a modern iPhone, which has a very high frame rate, all you can see are the actual individual LEDs, and it doesn't look the same at all. So you do have to have that trail of light that follows. Yeah. And it's really just the bulbs. If everybody can remember, when you turn out a fluorescent light, it doesn't go out immediately. You get that slight dimming and then it's out. And
but we can design that with a simple IC. We can control and just
you can achieve a hell of a lot with a modern LED, because you can change the percentage of brightness,
Yeah,
and you can get a
exactly.
beautiful trail that looks
Yeah.
exactly like it. But yeah, hopefully
That's what we
that's
need.
right, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what we
yeah.
need.
I mean,
All right.
it was powered by 55-watt halogen bulbs. So
Yeah.
I mean, they would constantly drain the batteries on these cars because
Yeah.
of leaving the scanners on. So, but in real life, like if I were to go out in my garage and look at it, you can clearly see the trailing effect, like you can see on the screen. And the scanner, the later style scanners were all relay based. So whenever you hear KITT's scanner on the show, you hear the the whoosh whoosh sound. In reality, it's click 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 because it's 8 relays clicking on and off. That's what it really sounded like. But yeah, but the trail is going to be one of the biggest things that that we're going to have to work on to get it perfect, because that can ruin the whole front end if it's not trailing properly.
Yeah. No, the trail for me is a must. As soon as I started studying this, I was thinking, oh, how am I going to do this? And I don't know why I didn't think of the dimming of the halogen, because I was thinking it was maybe a replica of 70s recording and optics or something. But yeah, this makes total sense, and that's what we really
individual bulbs lighting up. If there aren't 8 of them or 6 of them, it's bulb 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and as one goes out. And then also, because as Joe mentioned, with a relay isn't instantaneous, so it's then sending the signal to the next one to light up. So what you're seeing is the unintended lag. That's what creates it, and it gives that beautiful effect. You just suddenly see it, and you go, "Oh wow, that's it."
Yeah.
Because if it lit up perfectly, it would never have the same. I don't know. That's that thing that it has, and same with the Cylons. It's an unnatural look that just picks up in your head.
Yeah, it works. So this is correct then. The clear plastic is that the red color, or are the halogen lights?
No, the halogens are clear, and then there's actually 2 lenses. The first lens is a frosted lens to diffuse the light, and then there's a red clear acrylic in front of that. Yeah,
quite a thick. When you see it, if you sliced it in half, it's thicker than you assume it would be. When you look at it on screen, it almost looks as if the bulbs are just behind it. To get that diffusion, because again, on TV screens back in the day, all you would have seen would have been the individual bulb. So you have to diffuse it quite dramatically, about 75% diffusion.
Yeah. All right. So this is also a very interesting question. Are you configuring the T-tufts on the roof? With Justin adding that would add the cool figure that Barry is making. Make it easier.
Did we just reveal a secret there? Yeah, Jost?
Yeah, well, you're making the figure, aren't you?
Yeah, we're making the figure, guys.
Everybody has to order the Factory Entertainment Michael Knight figure. Anyway, so Joe, what's our stance on T-tops?
Oh, well, you have to have them. I mean, there's not an option. Yeah. I mean, some of the stunt cars they used on the show were hardtop cars, and they actually just stuck strips on the roof to make it look like T-tops when the car was driving by. But every version of KITT has T-tops. So
we have to have them, because anybody who owns a real Trans Am hates them because they leak like a sieve, but ours is never going to go outside, so we can have them.
Yeah,
that's right. But
you hear that, guys and girls? We do not take our model.
Yeah, do not take our car in the rain. Otherwise, it will realistically leak, and that would be screen accurate.
Right.
It would. But see, even beyond that, you guys, need to make it so the T-tops are on hinges, so KITT's auto roof can open.
Yep.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They had one car that could do this, the actual T-tops opening like this. So,
all right. So people are asking me to speak closer to the mic.
20 years.
Is this better? So we still got a lot of stuff to cover. Either we're going through this faster, or this is going to be a part one of one of two. So seatbelts.
The original. Okay, so this might be slightly easier. The original pilot car had seatbelts. So there we go. Yeah. So this is filming for that pilot presentation. The original Hero car that Michael Chaffee built the interior still had the seatbelts, and you can just barely see here. This is the factory seatbelt guide that was secured to the seat. Pretty much after they filmed that 30-minute pilot presentation, the seatbelts went away. So my suggestion is, especially if we're going to do a version of KITT that might be a little bit later in the first season, is to just not have seatbelts at all.
Okay. Sounds good. So this is a good question. I'm going to say yes, right, Barry?
Yep. Yes. Yes. And yes. And
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
they
yeah.
were. One of them definitely was a touchtone phone.
So are you going to have it so you can press the buttons on the dash like this to have the sound effects?
Physical size, probably not, because unless we give people a tiny
they'd be so
pushing
tiny.
stick,
A little.
The average finger will push all the buttons at once. Unless you have to be one of those people who've got fingers that sharpen to a point.
Yeah. So yes, those sounds are going to be there. All right. So no seat belts. That's good. Then
everybody good with no seatbelts? Because and it also ruins when you look in the front of the car. Those two seatbelts hanging down, they're so obvious, and the way they work on a Trans Am, because the seats flip forward, you have those loops in the seat too.
Oh, right.
So very obvious.
Yeah, but even though if you want to get every detail right, even though the seatbelts were gone,
they still got the mounts.
The mounts were always there for the first season. After the first season, the mounts pretty much went away. But because literally what they did, because one of the cars I have is one of those original 3 Pilot cars, and I took the headliner down. I found the original retractors for the seatbelt up there. They had just cut the belt and let it roll up in there. So so little details like this, for a first season car,
I like that.
Something you don't want to capture.
Yeah. I think that's good to add. Those kind of things is the stuff that we love to add.
That's a great shot.
Yeah. So then we got the front windshield to talk about.
Yes. So the front windshield, this might not, that's a decent shot of it. So factory, from the factory, the windshields, not just on Firebirds, but on really all cars, they have the tint across the top to help with the sun coming in for the driver. So the windshields were all replaced with completely clear glass. You can see it's got this band of black around it, but there's no tint at the top. And that was so the cameras filming could film the actors inside unobstructed.
Right.
But it also is very important because that allows you to see the outline of this overhead console, so you want clear the whole way to the top. Right.
Okay.
And then one other thing with that. So on the back, the rear glass, they had versions that had defrost and versions that had no defrost, with the lines on it. And I'm looking for a version, but you want the completely clear rear glass too. There's no defrost lines.
No defrost wires.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and people are saying in the comments, the taillight blackout and getting the taillights correct is going to be very difficult. Can you talk about why that would be?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be necessarily difficult because the original cars that I have here still have their original blackouts. That's not the best shot, but we'll work with it. So the blackout is, obviously a solid piece of tinted plexi, pretty much the same as what those turn signals were, but you can't really see it great here, but they attached it to the factory taillights are behind this panel, and they took L-shaped brackets, screwed them into the taillights, and then you can see the screws right here. There's 1, 2, there's another one right about here, another one right about here. So they just screwed right into there, and then the top, there's a notch right here that follows this trunk line. You can kind of see it here, kind of goes down like that, and they notch out, and then there's a metal bracket that runs across here. I'm sure I have better pictures of it, but this is what's coming up right now.
This is also very interesting. Usually we have to spend 6 months just getting pictures like this when we do.
I ridiculously have. Yeah, there we go. There's a great shot. So you can see here, so you got the screws down here, and then you can see right here, there's a notch cut out. And what you're seeing right across here, this is a metal strip and the edge of it is bent as a lip, and that holds it. The lip wraps around the top of the plexi right here, and then it's screwed in on the top right there, right over here. So it's not necessarily hard, but it's just the details, you know, to make sure we get right.
Right.
And then you have
All
the
right,
actual
so-
lights behind it, so we can have them work, and they would appear blacked out, and then when you turn them on, they'll be visible.
Yeah.
Yep.
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 Yeah,
Do
that's
hero
the way
cars
it
still
should
have
be.
the power trunk, or did they disable that?
So none of the 82 to 84 cars had a power trunk
Is it
available,
later?
like at the power pull down. It
Mhm.
does have the remote trunk release where, you know, it
Right.
unlocks the trunk,
Pop.
but none of them have the pull down motor. That came later in the
Yeah.
in the years. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So then when we go from the pilot cars to the season 1 car, we discussed the updated front nose with the turn signal blackouts. Is that the way you would want to make it? Because I saw one comment where the guy was like, "Yeah, I want to see the signal lights through the blackouts."
Yeah, that would be how it was throughout the whole first season. So yeah, I would definitely have it so those front turn signal, so those are true acrylic pieces where you can see the marker lights come through. I think, do I still have that one open? Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
So you can still see the marker lights behind it.
All right. Challenge accepted. So going from the pilot car to the season 1 car, you're also mentioning you've got the universal parts copies. What is that?
The universal parts copies? Refresh me. What am I? Universal parts copies.
Yeah.
Okay. So I remember what I was talking about there. So let me see if I can find a good shot of that. This is probably not that important for this discussion, but what happened was Chauffeur delivered that original car, and then Universal, the first thing they did is they took the dashboard apart and molded everything so they can make copies, because at that point there was all they had was what Chauffeur sculpted out of balsa wood and body filler. So Universal popped copies, and you can see here, this is that hero car, because when they took the hero car apart, they molded all the copies molded all the parts and then made copies. Well, what I think happened is, because those original parts were just wood and body filler, I think the original parts that Chauffeur built were destroyed whenever they were making the copies. So the hero car, then the dash, and you can see it here, you know, they didn't even have the stickers back on. Chauffeur's steering wheel had a cover here to cover the mounting hole. They didn't put that back on. So now KITT has a hole here. The voice box, you know, they just kind of slapped it in here. So this isn't, I don't think this is what you would want to copy. You'd want to copy the cleaner lines of what Michael Chauffeur did.
Did they vac form that? It looks oddly vac formed, vacuum formed plastic, or is it still fiberglass?
This is not fiberglass. I don't think it's vacuum formed, but it's like a poured resin, I think.
Right.
That's my guess.
So they would have destroyed the there's no way you can do that without, I mean, if they didn't destroy it, they certainly would have damaged it.
Right.
In that scale too, because you get warpage, that's a big piece to cast.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So this is so cool. I was trying to look back because I saw this comment we got people watching from South Africa earlier in the show. Say a shout out hi in the comments if you're still with us. We had somebody join us from Australia at little over 4 a.m. So I love the hardcore fans. Wow.
Yeah, that's one of my fans, John. He said he was going to join. Yeah.
This show had it was a very international show, because KITT, he was, timeless. Everybody, all the kids across the world got it. I actually met my wife due to Knight Rider, and she's not from where I grew up. And it was just, I was like, wait, you know what Knight Rider is? And it was that a weird kind of, leveler for everything.
That's so strange. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, when I was so what's the one before high school in the US?
Elementary school.
elementary, then middle school.
Yeah. Somewhere. So I probably right out of elementary school when that show was on in the Netherlands. Well, I'm from 74, so I was 8, and this is.
Wait, I'm the oldest one here. Okay,
you are so
that's
old.
Scary.
So anyway, so it's yeah. This is such an international appeal. I was sitting there, my hair freshly combed after a shower. If I was lucky, I would have some crisps, and then watch the show. It's just, yeah, it is.
It's
so
quite
beautiful.
a fun exercise where you can look at all the different voices of KITT in the different countries and how different they are.
Yeah, so this is interesting. I've had questions from people. Could you include the French voice? Could you include the Italian voice? Now that's a technical challenge we might have to think about, but right now,
probably not, because all those people are artists, and every single one of them, would be. So probably not, but we could look at it.
Yeah. So Derek, this is a good question. Will you be replicating the wonkiness of the original props? I would say yes, because we are scanning Joe's original screen used car and interior. And so this is just to be safe. We're also going to be scanning the engine bay, because if we get enough supporters, we might actually make you lift up the hood and be able to see the engine, because some people love that. So yes, with that scan being the original for our 6-scale hero vehicle, there's going to be some wonkiness in there that you.
But it won't be as pronounced too, because when you reduce, if you scan a full size car, and let's say the wonkiness is 10 centimeters over a meter, when you scale that down, it isn't always as obvious, because you're reducing everything. So very, if things are completely out of whack, they tend to be more noticeable. You probably won't see it even at the big size that our model is going to be. It will be less obvious than it is when you sit and stare at it in real life, and you go, man, that's way off.
Yep. So it's not going to be as pronounced, but it's definitely going to be there.
Yeah, it'll be there.
And I want to shout out to a fellow cheesehead. Op je kop staan, hi. Groetjes uitreizen. Love that everybody's watching this. Will it have Super Pursuit mode? Definitely not. So, no. So
not this version.
Going for no, exactly. So we're making the season 1 car. I don't know if there's a massive request for a second version after we do the season 1 car and the accompanying car. We might look into doing the season 3, season 4, but I did a poll on my closed Facebook group. If you're not part of the Facebook group and you want to follow the build from every step that I share, go to the closed Facebook group, Jazzing Dioramas, and become a member there. From the votes, it was like 10% or less of the people wanted the season 3, season 4 car versus the season 1 car. So for now, we're focusing on the season 1 car. Later season 1 is what it's looking like, right, Joe, with the equalizer voice box. But we're trying to stay as close to Michael Chaffee's vision as possible. I love that.
What was the gap between season 1 and season 2? Did they go pretty much into simultaneous filming because it was so popular right off the bat? Because there probably wouldn't have been.
No, they had. Well, it was kind of strange because they finished filming season 1. I want to say in March. I don't remember offhand, but they took a month or 2 off, and then they filmed 5 episodes for season 2. Then they took another break for like 2 months. Then they filmed the rest of season 2. So
it's really like season 1.5. And then
it almost is in some ways. Yeah.
All right. So Stefan from Germany. This is a good question. Let's jump into the tow bar. We're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit with the list we wrote out, but we can jump back and forth a little bit. So the tow bar, for the people who don't know, the tow bar was there so that they could just hitch the car to a trailer or whatever and just film close-ups looking into the front of the car, etc. Am I saying this correctly? That's what it was used for, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So this is a behind-the-scenes photo of the tow bar in use. So they had a receiver welded under the car, and then what they would do is anytime they had to film interior shots, they would hook a camera truck up to the car using this apparatus, right here, you can see the bolts that connect the apparatus to the car, and they would pull the car while the actors inside would act. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the pull car is controlling the car, so the actors it's for safety reasons, they're not actually driving the car.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And people have to remember this was also back in the day before digital cameras. I don't know if you got any shots, but that camera car would have had, 6 guys on it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Focus puller, a camera operator.
Oh, yeah. I've
like
pictures.
Today where you get it all in this tiny little camera. You just...
Oh, no.
Yeah,
they had 9 cameras.
To the dashboard.
Yeah, they had so many cameras on the car that the molding around the windshield would melt because it would get so hot. Yeah.
Wow. So the tow bar was there for many shots, if not all of them, in the show, right?
So So what you're seeing here, this is mid first season. So this version of the tow bar was the most visible, right? So you have these posts coming out here, a bar that connects it, another plate here that's welded to the impact bar of the car, and then these are the connectors. In season 3, they actually cut these off and changed them to ones that were a bit more hidden. But yeah, this is the tow bar. When people think of the tow bar, this is what they're thinking of.
It's welded to the subframe, so it's
this is welded.
Not the sort of thing you just detach for a shot and put back.
Right. And that's why they changed it.
2,500 pounds of car.
Right. Yeah. They changed it so it could be removed in later seasons. Yeah.
So I would say the tow bar is an easy question to answer. We will definitely add the tow bar and make it removable either with magnets or just with a simple key. Yeah, exactly. So that people have the choice to display it. Because in their head canon, there's probably not a tow bar in there. But if you want to show it, the tow bar is definitely going to be part of the offering.
And when you see that silhouette, it is noticeable, and you do notice that there is something there, whether you registered it as a tow bar or not. But it's definitely, when you first look at a Trans Am without it, if you're thinking of Knight Rider, it's weird because you're like, hey, wait, there's something wrong under the front of this car, and you can't really get your head around it till you see it.
Yeah. And Knight Riders of Greece, I agree. We talked about this before the stream went live and got Barry and Joe's input on it. If we get to the point where we have enough support to add like an actual engine opening hood, then this is what we wanted to do. To make it prop accurate, we would need the original 305 V8 in there and just give you as close to Joe's car in 6 scale, like a scaled down version of the actual prop that was used for filming.
And Joe mentioned earlier, we'll have some unique, because Joe, I won't steal your thunder, but the 305 was not a stock 305, correct?
There were some changes to it. There was a couple changes internally, but there's some extra things under the hood that are not there on a factory car. So
that's what we'll replicate, guys.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah, and then this was also mentioned before the stream started. Joe, you mentioned don't forget the skid plate. Agreed.
Yeah. Sure.
The skid plate is definitely going to be part of it.
Yeah, they had a couple. Yeah, they had a couple different versions of the skid plate. This is one of them. But yeah, definitely including the skid plate. There's another picture of one of the.
Isn't it funny? We can just shout out for a minute that we've got doors that go up by themselves. We've got aerodynamic plates on the bottom of cars, all things that are now standard on a vehicle.
Right.
Close to standard that we're on a fantasy car. I wonder how many of them were done just by people who remember.
Right.
Yeah, and
isn't that weird?
This picture also shows exactly why we need the bottom of the car to be as accurate as possible, because no car has shown its bottom as much as KITT. So
that's right.
Indecent that way, but anyway.
Well, you can imagine when they started writing the episodes where it did all of this, they would have been, the underside of a car is ugly as hell and it's all dirty, and we have to how do we fix this?
Yes, yeah. So, Brother Cousins, I want to give a shout out. I've been on his live streams a couple of times, so thank you so much for joining us on the live stream. This is also a good question. So we have discussed this amongst ourselves, to be talking to William Daniels about a signature edition. He is getting to 100 or already 100 years old, but he's still alive. He's still with us. And so Barry is looking into that, because we would love to do that. And I also have my guy who helps me with the signature editions. He's going to be looking into that as well. So we are definitely open to having a limited run with the signature plate numbered with William Daniels' signature on there.
Watch this space, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so here's a question: will there be Pontiac logos on the hubcaps and shifter?
No.
We can't. Basically,
no, there will not. End of
And
story.
you don't want them anyways, because KITT didn't have them. Those were both the hubcaps had the logos removed and the shifter had the logo removed. So
good. Oh, yeah, you heard it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there were any visible, they were unintended. I've heard some people claiming that they can see artifacts, and it's like, yeah, maybe, but they were unintended. We're making KITT, and KITT was exactly. KITT. KITT was not. He may have been based on a Trans Am, but he was KITT.
Yeah. So we're making exact. Thank you, Joe. So, yeah. So this is a good question. So since there is more licensing and licensing cost involved in this, for the vehicle, the price will be somewhere between our regular $1,499 and maybe $1,600, $1,650 tops. But somewhere around that range, so at or slightly over our price point because of licensing cost. Anyway, let's talk about this one, the tires.
Yeah. So, well, here I wanted to go back real quick. So, talking about the Pontiac logo. So, the wheels, and the tires, the hubcaps, this is all right from the factory from General Motors when the car was built. The only thing they did is they removed, there's an indent on the hubcaps for where the Pontiac logo was, and they simply removed the sticker that showed the Pontiac. So there were some cars in season 4 where they actually filled this logo in and it was completely smooth, but for the most part, just having that indent there is what most people would expect. The tires were Goodyear Eagle GTs.
No white logos.
No white logos. No, these tires came with white outline letters, but they're turned in, so you don't see them. So you never see KITT with the white letters. It's always raised black letters like this. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So, so let's see. There was so Barry. Maybe you could say, I'm assuming replicating that triangle is not going to give us any problems, right?
We need to check.
Okay.
We need to check. Yeah, it is a trademark. At this, we'll have to see how big it is and the size. But yeah, it's something we've got to check. We'll put something there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's get back on topic. So we discussed, we're basically focusing on the season 1 car, probably later season 1, with the removal of the seat belts. We're going to do the triple fog lights. They're going to be behind the slats, as you've seen in the image. We've talked about the tow bar. Then before, we also had talked about season 3, 2, 3, and 4. Let's leave that until the end, see if we have time, or maybe do that on a later stream, since it's not going to be relevant for the model that we're going to be recreating. So no super pursuit mode, no refresh of the fully covered dash top, which is all later in season 2 and not relevant for us. Let's see. So let's talk about what are the common issues and mistakes that you want us to avoid when you're looking at normal scale models of KITT, Joe.
A lot of it is just kind of in the details. So with a lot of the models that are out there, either they're mixing and matching seasons. So you might have a season 1 dash, a season 3 overhead console, different things like that. The body itself, you could tell was not scanned from an original car. Dimensions look off. The materials used for the seats, for the trim is not correct. So it's kind of a combination of all of those little details when put together just makes for inaccurate model. So I think scanning the car, getting the correct fabrics, getting the correct textures on things, and of course the correct shapes and dimensions and all that stuff is what's going to set this one apart from anything else. I think I told you guys this offline, but there's never been a release of KITT ever that has been truly accurate. So, and that's one of the reasons that I'm real glad that you guys, that we connected, is because I want to help to make this the definitive KITT model.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
But that is
No
absolutely the goal. That is absolutely the goal. So, and if we're not, just give us, well, we're going to be, so for the people who joined us who didn't know, Joe is going to be our main consultant on this. And he's going to make sure we stick to the script and get as accurate as possible, because that's what I want. That's the what is it? What the 8-year-old me inside really wants. So
you want the prop car, and here's the guy that owns the prop essentially, or certainly the best condition one. That actually is renovated back to its, because you mentioned that both of your cars had been through, let's just say, abuse between their screen time and you've restored them back. It's like an archaeological process, right?
It is.
You're literally digging it up in, well, not quite, but close.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And so another thing that Joe mentioned off screen that's I wanted to shout out. Joe's going to send us swatches of the actual seat fabric that you still have, the actual headliner fabric. What else did you mention?
Carpet. Any of the soft materials on the inside. I'm going to send you guys swatches so you can use that to.
We're going to go deep on this, people. I'm so excited.
Literally and figuratively, because the pile on that car is, it's not quite shag pile, but it's some carpet in there.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
The first time I sat in one, I was like, wow, this is for a what was essentially a base model car. It was pretty plush.
Yeah, it was very plush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably helped keep the noise of the engine down and the road noise.
Yeah, it rattles a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm seeing this pop up. David James, also need those orange shocks we see on Joe's car. What is that?
Oh, yes. So I don't know if that, let me see if that was visible in any of our pictures so far. But so on all of the cars, they
underside shots.
They swapped out the original shocks, the front and rear shocks, for the brand is Koni, Koni. And the Koni shocks are these like burnt orange red color shocks. Let me see. Can you see them in any of these pictures?
Wrong side. Yeah.
Oh, you can just kind of see it
right there. Right there.
So they swapped out all the shocks, and in some of the videos I've done on my YouTube channel, you can, because the cars still have their original shocks on them. So that's what he's talking about. The original orange Koni shocks.
Because those original shocks would not have stood up to that abuse that those poor things had.
Oh no, these are performance
just
shocks.
Flattened immediately, come straight up through the engine bay.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. And so this is another good thing. One thing to avoid is the seats not being able to push, because since Hasselhoff is such a tall guy, I'm assuming your car goes back further than normal. On the seat?
Interestingly, and here, let me bring up a screenshot of that. So, so they obviously had an issue with David Hasselhoff, and he was, so tall. And I have a great screenshot to demonstrate this. But what they did is they added seat extensions into the car. Let me see if this is one. You can't really see it too well here, but so they put seat extensions on the car. So the driver's seat, normally the back of the seat almost touches, this is the back seat, the bottom of the back seat.
Right.
So they have it so this seat can go way back here. So I guess seat extensions are on the list here.
We will have to put those in anyway, because obviously, as we mentioned, there's going to be a figure to accompany this, and physically inserting a figure which is made of hard plastic and has joints in different places
Yeah.
there will be some dressing required to place the figure and position him right, and then move his seat, which you couldn't. A human gets into a car in a very different way to the way you'll insert the figure. So yeah, there'll be some posability in this. But that was one of the weird things. If you've ever sat inside one of these cars, they're big cars, and then you go, wow, they're actually not the biggest interior.
Yeah.
Well, plus you have that giant dashboard, the pod button, the steering wheel, all of that's right in your face. So you need to sit further back.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we'll have to talk whenever you design the figure about like the clothing and different things like that. So I have some thoughts on that, but that's for another discussion.
Definitely. Yeah. That's another channel, another program.
Yes.
All right, Christian, what is he talking about? Side trims, stock, or rivets?
Oh, I know what he's talking about.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. So let me think of where I can find a good shot of this. Basically, this is not going to be a good shot, but this is what he's talking about. So this trim work right here on the side of the doors,
right?
From the factory, when these cars were new, if they were optioned as such, they had a rubber stick-on trim. It had a texture on it, and it was just double-sided tape, and the trim was stuck on. What happened was, these cars were bashed and repainted so many times. My original cars have over a dozen coats of paint on them. I mean, it's just real thick. So what happened was, that rubber trim was not holding up. So, and this was a second season change, but by second season, they quit using the factory stick-on rubber trim, and they replaced it with it. This is an aluminum track with a rubber insert, and it's actually riveted onto the car just to make it more durable. So if we're doing a mid-first season car, we're going to want to replicate the factory GM rubber texturized version. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The
As soon as you
boarding
said season
protectors.
2. Yeah. All right. And so this is also a good question. I wonder if we should have oil slick holes. Again, there were two versions of the oil slick. Joe, thoughts on that?
Okay, so in the oil slick, we've got right here. So this is from the pilot, and what they did for the oil slick originally, later on in the series, they just had almost like a little sprayer that sprayed black water or something. But in the pilot, they actually, I'm not sure what these are. These are giant, like bristles that are just leaking this oil everywhere. But if we look at Slam and Sammy, there's a great shot of the car on its side, right? You can just barely see it here. So this is the oil slick car. Look how they cut giant holes under here. That's what they use. And then they put, like I said, some bristles in there and just had it dumping oil. So, to make it accurate to the first season, if you wanted to do an oil slick, just, put giant holes in the bottom of it. And then, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how they did it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, this was also so cool. So shout out from Figurecraft. How cool that you finally met the Huth, right?
Yeah, that was a very special day to get to meet him. For me, it was always about the car. That was the draw for me. But it was one of those things that I just wanted to be able to check it off my list that I met him, and I got to reunite him with one of the original cars, which he hadn't been with since 1986. So that was pretty
wow.
Neat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Shout out Philly, very, very, very cool. And shout out to this. I'm sorry. Just another Dutchie. We don't usually get a lot of Dutchies on our stream, so hey jongens, hartstikke gaaf dat je bent.
Green name there, just a Dutch name, or was that a Hasselhoff side reference?
No, that was anyway.
Hoff in the Hoff sense.
Yeah, of course Hoff is watching, let's be honest. I mean, right?
Of course.
Of course.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael. No, I can't do it.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. What are the other things? So let's briefly talk about the season 2 cars, and later. In the meantime, everybody who has questions, I'm going to give the floor to you after we finish the changes that that went through that the car went through in later seasons. It should take a couple of minutes, and then I'll give the floor to the people and see if there are any more questions that we need to address. So, season 2, you mentioned, Joe, that one of the things was that they covered up the dash fully to extend it to the windshield. We're not doing that. We're doing the original Chaffee dash cover. But what kind of additional details are we talking? So this is
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about earlier. You can see how the dash now goes all the way back to the windshield. So this is a completely new fiberglass piece that they put in the Hero car. And they updated the voice box. You know, it's interesting, that original square voice box from the pilot, that square voice box was in the Hero car until a third of the way through season 2. Even though the close-up shots changed way back in the middle of season 1. So they finally refreshed the whole car. The TVs they swapped out. They originally had 5-inch Panasonic black and white TVs in there for the original Chaffee build. They swapped it out to these little, I think they're like 3-inch LCD screens. They're real tiny, and a different bezel around them. And then there was a refresh on the gauges themselves. So if we look at back in season 1 on, where was that picture I had? Here we go. So if you notice, this was Chaffee's, these electronics that are in here, even though we talked about how Universal changed out the fiberglass, these are the original electronics that they put back in the car. But you can see here, when Chaffee built those electronics, or his team built the electronics, the bezels here, notice how they're in 4 pieces. See see the divide here, and then these are rivets or screws, one of the two. No, they're screws. Yeah, they're screws. And then they put the screws on, and then you can see they actually covered it with like a adhesive vinyl. So the screws are underneath this vinyl, and then he used thin almost like pinstriping on here. Yeah. So and same thing over here. You can see these are different parts. So whenever Universal came in and in season 2 and redid that dashboard, they redid these bezels as well, and they became one piece without all these extra screws, and there's no seams here. So just little details like that of how they changed the electronics. And they changed the shape of the pods a little bit, changed the shape of the steering wheel. So, and of course they changed the lower console, the upper console as well. Let me see if I have pictures of that. So, give me a second here. So season 1. Yeah, here we go. So like this is the lower console that's between the two seats.
Yeah.
So this is what it looked like in season 1. Season 2, they switched it to this version, which looks similar, but they had like cash register buttons here with price and item and quantity. And these are more colorful, so little changes to that. Changes, like I said, to the overhead console. They made it smaller, more form-fitting. Kind of just gave the car a whole refresh for season 2.
Right.
The answer is, we talked about some subtle hybridization between sort of season 1, 1.5, and 2, but definitely if there's interest in the future, we can look at a different version of this, which would be a completely different car, same car, but very different. There's enough changes to say that, because this is, you mentioned earlier about the thing that's frustrated you with other replicas. They've done too much hybridization. They've taken the whole dashboard from season 3 and put it in a season 1, and vice versa. That's too much. There's some blurring of the lines a little bit, but you can't paint completely outside the lines.
No, exactly.
I totally agree with you. And
I love those little details. I think we can replicate those lines and even the little screws to get that original Chaffee look. Nobody's going to know but us, but I like that,
Everybody now knows.
Yeah, exactly.
And see, this screenshot's actually from season 4, but it gives you a better look at the evolution of the fog light, right?
Yeah.
So by the middle of season 2, they had switched to 2 fog lights on each side instead of 3. And then by the end of season 2, they had completely gotten rid of the grills altogether. So pretty much from season 3 and 4, this is kind of what it looked like. You could just 2 fog lights on each side, no grills to obstruct it, just, much more open. And the tow bar, like we talked about, instead of having that bar that runs across, they just had these tiny little receivers tucked under the nose.
Yeah.
So definitely a cleaner version.
Yeah. All right. So this is also interesting. Joe had a divided back seat. As far as I remember, season 1 had a solid back seat. Joe?
Yes. So and that was just due to the different cars that they use. So let's go back here to a screenshot from the pilot, and I'll show you what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at maybe this, yeah. So the back seat. So in 82 Trans Ams, the back seat was solid one piece. There was no divider, and that was the only option. Starting with a special edition, the Daytona 83 car, they offered split rear seats, and then by the 3rd season, we started to see. Give me a second here. Let me find a good.
Got 4-point racing harness on there too.
Yeah, that magically showed up for that one scene.
Magically appeared.
Yeah,
that's because it was a child in the car. They had to have safety.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But see, by the 3rd season, they had switched up the car they were using for all their insert shots, and the car they were using was a 1983 model.
Yeah,
you can see here it has the split rear seats. So this would be again something if there was a 3rd or 4th season car that you guys built, then we'd be talking about split rear seats. But really, we're just talking about the solid one for the initial build.
And the car we're scanning from you that has the single back seat.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
All right. So we got a volunteer, Philly again. Yes, we are going to do lots of sounds. I haven't listened to them, Barry. I don't know if we need somebody to clean them up, but
it's handy if we've got the contact. But they sound pretty good to me. They are not just raw straight off the soundtrack. They are the official sound bites. So let's definitely have a look at them carefully. And some of them, I believe, also may have been recorded post because they weren't clean. They didn't keep every single piece of dialogue, but some of the key lines have either music playing in the background or so they didn't isolate them as such, but they sound to me like they came straight off the ADR recordings, so they seem pretty clean.
Well, I'll check them, Philly, and if they need work, I'll definitely get in touch with you. This is also interesting. When did the light up gas pedal appear, Joe?
That was season 3. That was
crap. Oh, I love the light up gas pedal.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no light up gas pedal prior to season 3. So yeah.
So season 3, KITT got really blinged out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all new dash, all kinds of changes.
It's so funny. I would have thought that was always on the show. That thing. I'm surprised to hear it. Anyway, shout out to Anthony,
shared
Sixville
false memory
Mafia.
syndromes.
Oh.
Well, thank you, sir. I usually get called a different word beginning with B, but it's not beautiful.
Bitch. Anyway.
Yeah, I respond to that one.
Yeah. Anyway.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, I agree completely. That's very true. So will the windows move up and down? Not too sure about that yet.
If they do, it will be manual.
Yeah. Anyway, so So we talked about the changes. Do we need to discuss Super Pursuit mode? No, I'm going to make a judgment call here and say we're not going to discuss Super Pursuit mode because it's way off the table for now. So I'm going to give the floor to the people in the chat and see if there are any questions we want to discuss. this is the first I'm seeing. Christian, are black cloth pieces added to the headrests of the seat?
So I think we should do that. So that was an addition in the middle of the first season, and let me find you a good shot. I don't know if this is a good shot. No. So what they did was okay, so that's a decent shot. So what they did was because the stunt drivers were blind driving KITT a lot, and what they did is they sat behind a specially designed seat that looked just like this, and they would look out these openings in the seat. So what the
What are you
show
talking
did
about?
is,
KITT drove itself. No. Anyway,
did I spoil something? I'm sorry.
Spoiler alert! Come on.
Spoiler alert from a 40-year-old show. So midway through,
Somebody somewhere's crying now. They're like, "What?"
Yeah, like my whole childhood is ruined.
Anyway,
yes. So they added black cloth in here that it doesn't look like it here, but the stunt drivers could actually see out of it just barely.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think we do want to add this because that was
Agreed.
midway through the first season. So yeah.
All right.
You do see it when he behind his head. You see it regularly when he's turning his head. You see the bits of it at the back.
Yes.
Right. So I agree. That's a good thing to add. Brian Tone. I love you guys. That's he's a longtime supporter of our work.
I know Brian. Yep. He's great.
What kind of separated? I'm drawing a blank here. What kind of separated overlays?
This is going back to our discussion on the electronics about how Chaffee, the overlays for the electronics, how he had them separated into those 4 pieces with the screws.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so he's saying he has the files for those overlays.
Brian, yes, please hit me up. That would really make my work a lot easier. Then we can check them and definitely incorporate them. Solid back seat. So let's go. Okay, so here's a suggestion for Barry. Yeah, all right. So
here I'll ask a question: turtleneck or open shirt?
And keep in mind that with a turtleneck, a sitting figure might not look as good.
Yeah, because we see him in the turtleneck in a lot of the promo shots, but I believe we only saw him in one episode in a turtleneck. Most of the time, it's an open shirt, so we can see his lovely, vivaciously hairy chest.
Yeah, which if you're doing a figure, the ability to show some chest hair. I don't know.
There you go.
Not that one. Not
do that.
The disco outfit.
All right. Don't forget the premium interior with the carpet on the parts that go over into the trunk.
Yes, you definitely need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
so that's turbine hum sound. Yes, definitely. Barry, you might not know or want to say the answer, but let's.
Don't know yet.
Don't know.
Haven't worked it out. The hardest part of miniaturizing the outfit is the leather jacket. So once we've resolved that, and yes, it will be real leather, people. No pleather. Once we've resolved that, then we can look at the potential for different outfits. But at the moment, the plan is to offer it as most of the 12-inch figures we do come with an outfit. But let's reserve judgment on that, and people can sign up to our newsletter or send things to Jazzing, and let's get some suggestions. We'd love to hear what people think on outfits.
And just so you know, Barry, there was a couple versions of that leather jacket. So
many versions.
There's a
even
season 1, season 2.
Yep. We've tracked down the original manufacturer who's no longer in business, and we're looking at trying to replicate it as closely. Again, when you miniaturize leather, stitching and things, you have to make some sacrifices because you can't have like 3 levels of pleat because in scale it will end up looking like a bulletproof vest.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so will there be a working overhead console with opening T-tops? So we discussed the opening T-tops is a definite thing. Working overhead console, not in the terms that you can push buttons, but there's going to be an overhead console with lights, of course. What is high traction drop downs? Anyone got an idea?
Well, yeah, I know what high traction.
I know what that is.
All right, go ahead.
No, that's a one episode thing that KITT had where he turned into a pseudo 4x4 mode. So you can see here how he lifts up. This was just for season 2. Actually, this is one of the 2 cars that I have. So I have to repair the high traction drop downs. But no, we shouldn't do that for season 1. That wouldn't make sense.
No. Okay. All right. Cool. Will the model be die cast or plastic? So this is a good question. So the main thing is probably going to be plastic or a combination of non-metal materials. Why? Because die cast at 82 centimeters is right over the limit of what you should be doing with die cast. You run into all kinds of issues with not only weight, but tolerances and detail that gets lost if you do die cast.
And the product would have to come with a 2-person lift warning.
Yeah, that too. So there's going to be die cast parts on there, but the main model, and there's going to be a metal subframe like we always do. But I don't think it's a good idea to make it full die cast. Let's see what this is. Want your take on the 2008 reboot? What's your thoughts?
Doesn't hold a candle to the original.
Nice try.
But all Knight Rider is good Knight Rider, but it's new Knight Rider, and you can't. There's the original, and then there's the covers band.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Brother Cousins says, give me a watch as the remote control. Well, obviously that's a good idea. The thing is, with all the kinds of effects we're talking about that we want to do, the watch might not have enough surface area.
Yeah, it doesn't have enough buttons, and your fingers won't fit.
Yeah, so for the lights, the sound, the turbo boost effects, the talking, and so many other things I'm not even thinking of right now.
What about a voice activated watch, right? Turbo boost.
Yeah. The thing is, we'll look into that. But as soon as you start doing that, you're thinking software, and software, you're thinking updates. Like people are talking about maybe doing an app, but then you have to keep that updated for the life of the collectible, which is probably longer than most of our lives, I hope. So
yeah, we don't want to be doing technical support 15 years from now.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is also a very good question. Any plans for the dash instruments, animated or static displays? So it's too soon to tell where we will land this. The goal, I can tell you very much, is animation. So together with Barry, well, individually, apparently, we're looking into this separately, but we're already looking at screens. We found them that are 0.8 of an inch in diameter, so that we can have actual working screens with animation. And since we're already working on animated screens and small screens for our bat caves, we have some experience with that. So there's going to be a whole bunch of lights. There's going to be a whole bunch of screens. And the goal is to have animated actual screens in there as well.
This will be an experimental thing as well. Things like we all know that the speed. When it's scaled down to such a small size, you may not even be able to read the individual numbers as they move. So these are things we have to test because, what were the screens were yay big-ish. When you go down by, down, they're going to be, this big. The detail may not even register, and, you may be able to slow it down and film it on your phone at like 5 times slower speed and see it, but your eye will never pick it up.
No, but I got this suggestion also from a fan called Graham, who said Mike Lane does it for an 8th scale model. So in 6th scale, a lot should be possible.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people, by the way, say open shirt. So
open shirt. It's that chest, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You'll sell more models.
Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah,
look at that.
Well, everybody remembers that photo shoot they did with Devon, and he's wearing the polo, and they used that incessantly and repeatedly. And I don't know why, because that it must have been from, I guess they had them all together and they did a photo shoot. I don't know, but all the promo shots are the polo neck. But on camera, he barely wears it.
Yeah. This is a good point.
Yep, we know.
So here's
which is
one
why we
vote.
have to make the decision, because if we don't do it, you can hide it underneath a polo, but you can't then say you have to have a seamless neck for an open shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
This was a pretty common look for season one. Yeah, something like that.
It's interesting how he moves from very much Western wear, and I call it the Miami Vice effect. He starts at the beginning in very much kind of cowboy Western. He's in plaid for a large number of first season episodes. And then as we get into season 2 and 3 and as Miami Vice, he definitely goes back to that disco jacket with nothing underneath, and it moves way more towards Miami Vice.
Absolutely. And
the best thing I noticed, this is just stupid aside, but the shoes, if you sit back and watch the episodes and see how many times Michael changes his shoes, it's quite fascinating. You don't notice, but 90% of the time he was driving the car, he wore sneakers.
Oh.
But then he gets out, so you'll see a shot, he'll get out of the car and he'll be wearing boots. He'll chase a guy, he's wearing boots. He gets back to the car, and then when he gets back out again, he's wearing sneakers. So he must have switched his shoes like 3 times.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Because who wants to run in boots? I mean, it's not fun.
I have a couple of the original belt buckles we'll talk about.
We're having the belt buckle, even though that did disappear in latter seasons. You've got to have that K belt buckle. That's that's a must.
Well, especially since now we're focusing on season 1, the figure should, you know?
Yeah.
No plaid shirts, probably not.
No, exactly. So any idea of the rough dimensions? Yes, 82 centimeters in length, and then whatever comes out of the scan with the rest of it. Spikes on the tires.
That was a season 4 thing.
That's it. This is a good question. The paint finish, is that like a regular black or metallic finish?
Neither. It should be glossy metallic. I'm sorry, glossy black. There's no metallic in the paint, and it shouldn't be flat. So it should be glossy black.
I'm assuming he didn't mean flat black, but like gloss black versus metallic black. So so no metallic paint. Good, Gwen.
Yeah, but the interior, like the dashboard and the consoles, would be a satin on the inside. So
yeah. Oh, here you go.
Let's have a little shout out to the poor guy whose job it was to keep that car clean and polished for every shot.
Oh yeah,
it must have been literally every 20 seconds. It must have been dusting that thing down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have no idea. There's guys that all they did was just like polish that car.
Yeah. It must have been literally non-stop.
Yeah. This is also a cool idea. Maybe get that display as the basis for the remote control. That might be a cool idea. This is a good question that Barry might have to look into.
Unknown at the moment. Won't get into the boring, but when music is involved, and even though it's synthesized music, it's still music, and we have to check the rights clearances for music. So it's something we are looking at. We do not know as of this day.
Yeah.
There's a guy polishing the car.
Yep. See, I have it all. I have it all, Barry.
Are you going to make a figure of that, Barry?
That guy down.
Yeah, we need to scan his face.
Knight Rider Valet.
Yeah. Jazzing quality, KR historian's accuracy. That is the dream project, and that is exactly what I thought. He had 3 different license plates that flipped around. Is that also in season 1, Joe?
No, that was a 1 episode thing in season 2, and it was just 2 license plates. It was Knight, and then KNI 667 was the other version of it.
And it does have a license plate frame. It isn't like a James Bond one. It is a standard like bolt-on frame, correct?
Yeah. So it's interesting because we talked to the production manager years ago specifically about that, and there's a chrome frame on KITT, and he said he put the chrome frame on specifically because he wanted it to break up just all of the black on the car. So yeah, so it's got a standard chrome frame.
Was it tagged and titled?
Yeah, it was. Here we go. That's what I was looking for.
There we go.
So yeah.
September 84.
So yeah, so I actually own this exact license plate you see right here.
Man.
So so there was just a standard chrome frame here, and then they had tags. The tags did change 82, 83, 84 different months.
So for non-California viewers, those are stickers that you get from the DMV every year, and you either peel the old ones off or you put them over the top. So that's what they are. Yes,
exactly. And see, it had a plate flipper, and it would switch to this KNI 667.
Yeah.
But I do have. I replicated these plates. I sell them on my website, and I actually have digital files for all these original stickers. So we can talk about that when the time comes. But yeah,
excellent.
KITT was born in September, people.
Yeah.
So a couple of more things, and then we'll because we'll be going at this for an hour and 50 minutes, and we were already there 30 minutes before. So this is a good this is a question. I have no idea. Will there be lights under the outside door handles? Is that a thing?
So it's a thing, but now we're crossing into what was actually on the car versus what did they have on an insert shot that wasn't actually on a car. So whenever KITT's door handles were locked, you would see in the first season, you could see they had these little lights under there. This wasn't actually on any of the cars. Like I said, it was just an insert shot. So the question is, do you want to put it on an actual car? But they did have this from one of the very first episodes.
I think we should look into that, Barry. What do you think?
Yeah, we should. I mean, it may be one of those things that scale is because the handle is unlikely to actually move. And so as you lift the handle, it reveals it. You can see the residual glow from it when the handle is down, but you can't see, unless you're lying on the ground, you can't see the LEDs, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
But so if the only thing I'm hesitant about is what you said, Barry, the scale thing. But I think it's cool to have something to that effect to see what we can do. Maybe just paint it or have.
Yeah, it could be a decal.
Yeah. It could be a decal, right? Yeah. Will the headlights pop up? We talked about this, and since it's a season 1 car, we think yes. Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is also a cool idea by Philly. A cool stand to make it look like it's riding on 2 wheels.
Stunt stand.
Yeah, stunt stand. I like that idea. I think that's doable. I don't know if there's any limitation to what we can do with the design of the box, but I see a lot of people suggesting to have the box look like the Semi.
If only we knew a guy who had a Semi. And I meant truck.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm almost done restoring the original one, so come scan that too while you're at it.
Right. All right. So I'll take 2 more questions. And in the meantime, Joe, do you have anything you want to add or tell the viewers?
I mean, nothing really that we haven't already talked about, except that, I'm glad there's so much interest in this project.
Yes.
I'm very happy that you guys reached out to me, and I just wanted to reiterate that I hope that that for those of you guys who know me will realize that, accuracy is of extreme importance to me, and working with these guys, I'm hoping that we can deliver you an absolutely amazing model that's really detailed in every single aspect.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going for. From the experts we worked with before, they said we did make the most accurate of any scale of the 66 stuff we done. I hope you'll give us that same seal of approval at the end.
That's I'm confident I will. Yes,
it'll be great to see the model sitting on the floor next to the real thing.
Oh yeah. We'll do
one of those
shots.
Like lifetime achievement goals there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to say parked on the roof, but we won't do that.
No. So, like I said, I'm going to take 2 or 3 more questions. Yeah, I assume this should have the original logo, right?
Yeah. It'll have. You'll definitely want to have that original logo on the steering wheel. This one is what they're talking about.
Yeah. So, but there's an additional hole that sometimes you see, sometimes you don't. What do you want to do with that?
Yeah. So I think you're gonna want to cover that hole. I don't think you're gonna want that, because what it was is, if we go back to here, so this is Michael Chaffee's original design. So
Right.
this steering wheel does have that mounting hole here, but what Chaffee did is, this is actually a piece of styrene that he put on here that covers. It's a piece of styrene the whole way across here, up here, and he put this Night 2000 logo. And what happened was, when Universal took the car apart, made the copies, that styrene piece, because it was just real flimsy, it never made it back on the car. So then you could see the hole behind it. Yeah. So I think this is what you're going to want to go for right here, this smooth look.
Otherwise, the hole is the boss for attaching the steering wheel to the column.
Yeah.
And the yoke, let's be clear, it's not a steering wheel, it's a yoke. Another thing that they did before anybody else.
That's right.
Yeah.
How is it to drive with a yoke? Is it weird?
Yeah.
It is, but I mean, I don't like, the cars don't get driven on the road. So but yeah, it's definitely different.
Unnatural, because you want to move your hand with
right, yeah, you want to drive like this. Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah.
So anyway, do a few more questions. Will the paint on the body be polished smooth? Most diecast have a bumpy texture. So all our cars, when they are painted, the surface is sanded. Then there's a paint layer, sanded, paint sanded. So there's going to be a lot of sanding involved, more than with any model car. Having said that, there is no 100% smoothness possible. So one of the videos I studied on the Knight Rider, people making models were talking about $12,000 paint jobs to get that kind of thing to be like show quality smooth. And the thing is, it's tough for people to wrap their head around, but the thing that they have in their head, A, the normal cars probably never like that, and B, they're talking about a $1,500 paint job on a $1,500 car, or maybe even more than a $1,500 paint job. So there you go.
This is KITT's real paint job. Look at that orange peel.
Yeah.
That's what you should replicate.
Let's be honest, they're out of the factory. They weren't amazing in the 80s either. I mean, it was just how much orange peel did you have on your car?
We're right. And this is after, this car's probably already been painted half a dozen times,
and this is also another important distinction. We were talking about, people ask what this is going to be made of. By not making the body panels out of die cast, it allows us, it's a little more sympathetic. Plastic and fiberglass are more sympathetic than die cast. So no, in relation to his question, we probably won't have the issues that you typically get with die cast body panels. No,
but you have to be realistic. Like I said, remember $12,000 paint job.
You will not get absolutely pristine. There will be some deviations. It's just the way. And think, you can't paint the whole model in one pass. It has to be painted in, it's physically impossible.
Yeah. So will the model be available around the world? Yes, we will sell from our sites, respectively, the Factory Entertainment site and our site. So you can it's worldwide, except I think North Korea and something.
Anywhere we can't physically ship to because they're currently at war or blockaded.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for the people. I think Christian was also suggesting sending me some files, and so thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for all your questions, and we will do more live streams. I don't know what kind of intervals we're talking about, but I can assume that once we've scanned the car, Joe's car, which is now scheduled for hopeful somewhere around February, we have to knock down an exact date. The other thing I wanted to mention, by the way, is that both Barry and I will be attending San Diego Comic-Con, and it is the goal to have at least, there you go, to have at least...
Crossing my toes as well.
Yeah.
See that. Nobody wants to see that.
a prototype of Knight Rider along with some other stuff in the sideshow in the San Diego Comic-Con booth that we will both so Jazzik will have a small part in the Factory Entertainment booth, which is very cool.
Our booth will be unmissable this year. I mean, it always is every year, but this year will be something else.
Yeah. And I'll personally try to attend at least the Wednesday evening and Saturday shows. So if you want to meet me, I'll be there, and we'll have somebody from Jazz Inc. there most days, if not all days. So the final prototype is probably going to be done after San Diego Comic-Con, realistically speaking. Yeah, and so when it comes to pre-orders, right now we're shooting for somewhere around March because we need to do that scan from Joe first to start the pre-orders, and they will be open at least all the way on the Jazz Inc. site, as we always do, until the final prototype has been revealed, so everybody knows what they're getting. But of course, the earlier you pre-order, the earlier we know what kind of numbers and therefore what kind of features we can add. So features like a full 305 engine block and all that sort of thing. So I hope that's everything. Again, thank you everyone for joining us, and until the next stream. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
See you guys. Thanks.